On Amazon, the clicks used to be all sponsored product ads predominantly, and now I know there's a lot of tools that are out there, sponsored video and a few other things that I'm sure you could do a better job of speaking to than me. Which are the go-to tools in the ad toolbox for a brand to use?
Yeah, so I would still say sponsored products is probably 70-80% of an average budget for it's the lowest funnel ad placement. It probably always will be. You can't really get much lower funnel than typing a very specific series of words and seeing a product that exactly matches that in 3 seconds you can purchase. I mean, that is as low funnel, high conversion as you get. I think where you're seeing a lot of the incrementality in what Amazon's building is deliberate attempts to go up funnel, both mid and I would say high funnel, meaning, high funnel meaning the customer's not even necessarily searching in your category. That maybe they browsed your category 2 weeks ago, maybe looked at your product, maybe didn't. And now you're targeting on demographics, on lifestyle and category, on, much, much higher funnel, launching new product, selling, promoting a brand, et cetera. And then that mid funnel stuff is more kind of somewhere in between. Maybe they're more actively shopping in the category, but not necessarily searching for that specific item. I think that the one you mentioned, video, and there's a couple different betas in video having to do with video right now, I think are super interesting. And we've seen some really good results. What's interesting to me about video is the creative becomes particularly important. Historically, Amazon's ad units were so kind of basic and cookie cutter. There really was no creative leeway. I mean, literally changing a few keywords around in a headline. I mean, yeah, that matters. You should beta test it, but it's not going to make a 10x difference one way or the other. Now, with an ad unit being, 15-second video, like that video matters. Because, you're scrolling on your phone and that video is either going to capture your attention or it's not in about 2 seconds. So creative now starts to become a real kind of differentiator, which has always been the case in traditional advertising. Creative's been tremendously important, but, historically on Amazon, it hasn't mattered as much. And I think that's starting to change, which is pretty interesting.
And is that something that your agency is doing with your clients? You're helping them to do the creative, or do you outsource that to an actual video agency?
We are working on it. So our broader company does massive, extensive creative work, but more on the big brand enterprise Super Bowl ad kind of side of things. I think there's basically a gap in the market where there's not a lot of good options for more kind of practical creative, I would say. So it's kind of something that's in process for us right now. We think there's a real need.
Can you think of any brands that are doing a really good job of this? Is there a certain video that you've seen or in a collection of videos where we could speak about some specifics?
It's a really good question. On the video side, there's not one that immediately jumps out at me. I wish I could just find one to peg. I think generally in terms of content and creative on Amazon, and they're not a client of ours, so I won't give a self-serving answer here. I think Anchor is always one that has been continually buttoned up and impressive. They're consumer electronics company. They're always a good I think use case of a company who's kind of pushing the envelope. And it's interesting when you say the term creative, like sometimes people have this image of this brilliant award-winning ad. That's not always what effective creative means. Sometimes it's a much more practical thing, getting the customer the right information in the right way so they can buy a charging cable in 35 seconds, and that matters, especially at scale. So
yeah, I think people want to see authentic ads or authentic content more than they want to see polished ads.
Yeah.
An example of that, yesterday I ran an experiment to promote one of my blog posts, and I just fired up my screen sharing and I put myself in a little bubble down in the corner. And I said, hey guys, this is what this blog post is about. If you're having this problem, you should really totally read this blog post because it's going to help you with this problem. And I did a split test of comparing everything was exactly the same, except one ad had a still image and one had video, and I put it on Facebook. And I mean, the video ad is crushing it. And it literally, I'm sitting at my desk like this, and it took me like 90 seconds to make the video, and it was done.
Yeah.
Not a high production cost to a video that you can think up, edit, create, shoot, and film in 90 seconds. So I can't imagine that the experience on Amazon is going to be a whole lot different.
Yeah, and it's actually, your instincts are correct there, because a lot of what we've seen being successful, especially with the video and search ads, which is where a video plays like as you're scrolling, like literally, you just scroll by it in 2 seconds. It is the really sort of practical videos that do well. Now there are some that are funny or eye catching or right away kind of suck you in, but for the most part, the ones that resonate, that do well, are not splashy branding. They're like, you're looking for a product. Here's the solution. Here's how it works. Here's someone using it for 15 seconds. And at least that gets you interested enough to go to the detail page. And that's the idea. And then hopefully purchase. But it is interesting. I mean, it's a lot of this activity on Amazon. Now they are trying to become more of a place where people sort of browse and shop and discover. And I think they're doing a good job, but 90% of the purchases on Amazon are spear phishing. It's, I need inserts for running shoes. I need a new t-shirt. I need a hat, whatever. And very specifically going after a category and trying to make a quick decision. I think there was a stat, I may get this wrong, so I apologize if it's off, but in rough numbers, I think it was something like 30% of purchases on Amazon, the decision is made in less than 3 minutes, which is, I mean, it's crazy.
Oh, I'll bet you like 70% of my purchase decisions are made in less than 2 minutes on Amazon, because I know what I'm looking for. I type it in. I look at the reviews. I have a quick look at the picture, add to cart, checkout, done on my phone, and like that's why I love Amazon, because you can just get it done so quickly.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So we started this conversation off with the review mirror. Is there any other major shifts that you wanted to speak to before we whip out the crystal ball and tell everybody how the world's going to turn out?
I could probably dig deep and find a few, but I think the ones I mentioned are, to me, like the big trends. So,
okay.